client?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Put your pesky hands back and pay the money.
Hello and thanks for joining us for our weekly film show. We're starting with a gem of a movie about teenage girl power. Rocks is an uplifting film revolving around a girl who's left to fend for herself and her brother after her mum disappears. Written by Nigerian-British playwright and screenwriter Teresa Ikoko and directed by Sarah Gavron, it's a collaborative production born out of workshops with young people.
Are y'all seeing this? I'm gonna be the new Picasso.
These are your clients?
Yes, you
Yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Put your pesky hands back and pay the money.
I became really interested in telling a story about what it is to be a teenage girl growing up now, today, in this world that's changing so rapidly.
How's your mum doing?
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The film is about a group of girls. At the heart of it is Rocks, that's her nickname, who's a British-born Nigerian girl who lives with her younger brother and her mother. And at the opening of the film, really quite early on, her mother leaves and she's in a position where she's left to look after her younger brother. And what you see during the course of the film is the group of girls around her, her female friends, come together. And it's about female friendship.
Ginger, tell me, what do you want to do?
I want to be a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yeah.
And you know you need to have very high levels to be a lawyer?
She does have high levels, though.
Well,
What are you trying to
your
say?
levels aren't as high as they might need to be if you want to be a lawyer. It's always a good idea to have a backup plan, a plan B.
You don't need no backup.
The friendship group is so diverse. It has so many ethnicities. That's what really makes it rich, and it makes it so full of different personalities. So I really think it does represent, like, girls and Hackney.
I'm always here for you. You always have barriers up. Like, what's the problem? Talk to me. I don't get it.
Like, you wouldn't understand.
Which is why I'm
My
trying to
situation.
understand and help you.
Bruv, you have everything. You have your mom, your dad, your nice house. Like,
That's got nothing to do with the situation
it has
right now.
everything to do with
Which
it.
is why I'm
You don't
trying to
understand
help
where...
you. But
Let
I'm
me
trying to
speak.
help
Let me...
you.
It's not my situation.
But
Can I
I'm trying to
speak?
help you. Let me guess. I live a perfect life.
You live a perfect life. You
Okay,
have a
but I'm
mom,
trying to bring
your
you into
dad,
my life. I'm trying to
brothers
bring
and
you into my
sisters.
life.
You don't know what hurt is.
That's the one thing I like about this film. It's not fake, if that makes sense. It's not a fairy tale where there's a start and then there's a climax and then the problem's just solved, because that's not what life is. So, like, this film shows that there's gonna be bumpy roads, but in the end, it doesn't have to be a sad story. It can still be life, if that makes sense.
Think of everything that is happy and stop thinking about all your worries.
We're coming with you.
Well, our film critic Lisa Nesselson is with us via Skype. Now, Lisa, this is an empowering portrait about what it means to be growing up in today's complicated world.
Well, it made me realize how little genuine responsibility I had at that age, about 15. Rox is a hefty teenager with hefty responsibilities on her young shoulders. We gather that this isn't the first time her mother has just vanished from one day to the next. Rox is determined to keep up appearances, not so much out of shame or embarrassment, but because she loves her adorable little brother, Emmanuel, so do we, and she doesn't want to risk his being put in foster care with no resources except emotional ones. He's pampered, humored, loved. Thanks to his big sister, Emmanuel doesn't know he's having a disadvantaged childhood. Rox makes eluding social services seem like an adventure. I was touched by the absolute matter-of-fact multiculturalism where white faces are in the minority at school, and Rox has a really strong relationship with her best friend who comes from a better-off Somali family. I found the characters surprisingly mature and yet still playful and girlish. What I really liked is that it's a story about girls, but there's an absolute minimum of giggling about boys and virtually no references to sex. It's about friendship and resilience. It's about being forced to cope in the present moment while struggling to plan ahead. And it touches on when it's the right thing to do to inform the authorities that something is amiss. A well-meaning neighbor, a well-meaning classmate reporting a lack of adult supervision. Is that normal concern or an act of betrayal?
Rocks is definitely worth watching in cinemas. We're going to talk about another coming-of-age film now, and France's culture minister has spoken out in defence of the French movie Cuties or Mignonnes in French that's causing a buzz in the United States. Roselyne Bachelot said the movie by Maïmouna Doucouré was being criticised for elements taken out of context. The film on Netflix follows an 11-year-old girl who joins a group of dancers who imitate the dance moves of today's pop stars. What's all the fuss about, Lisa?
Well, from one day to the next, a movement blossomed with the hashtag Cancel Netflix. Close to 700,000 people signed a petition to condemn the streaming service. And sure enough, the churn rate, that's the rate at which subscribers cancel or don't renew, increased 8-fold. I read hundreds of online comments. Irate, indignant, outraged protesters believe that Cuties is child pornography, that it exploits underage girls, and that, in the words of sitting U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, quote, every pedophile in America will watch this. Now, the film shows an 11-year-old girl, Amy, furious that her mother is complicit in the fact that her father is about to marry a second wife who will live with them. Amy wants to fit in at school and joins a group of girls who put together dance routines by watching internet videos. They plan to enter a dance contest. They work hard, they practice, and they have fun appropriate to their age group. There are no sleazy adults egging them on, no entrapment or grooming, just young girls watching readily available videos on their phones. In other words, a completely plausible reflection of reality. The youthful energy in this story is absolutely organic. No adolescents were harmed.
Okay, well, let's take a look. This is from Cuties.
Me dis pas... Non, tu l'as volé? Oh, la dégueulasse, j'y crois pas!
À quoi tu joues là, ami? Qui es-tu, ami?
Laisse couler l'eau, ma chérie. Les péchés s'effacent avec.
Vous avez quel âge?
11 ans. 14.
And the US outcry started with the poster, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's well known that a poster can cause the complete breakdown of Western civilization. The French poster shows the group of friends happily walking down the street, having just gone shopping and wearing lingerie items on the outside of their outfits. Senator Cruz asked the Attorney General of the United States, William Barr, to look into whether Netflix has broken child pornography laws because he thinks young actresses doing silly dances in a fictional film is, quote, disgusting. Well, Senator Cruz might be surprised to learn that Netflix had nothing whatsoever to do with getting the film made, but the French government did. All Netflix did was buy the rights to show it worldwide, everywhere except France, where it has been in theaters since August 19th without making a ripple, except for money invested by France's privately held cable channel Canal+. The money came from public French television channel France 2, the National Center for Cinema, the Paris regional authorities, and so on. That means dozens of people in decision-making roles read the script and thought it was fine. Not because French people who apportion filmmaking funds are all in favor of exploiting children. I can't emphasize enough that it's quite the opposite, but because they can see that the film is about an 11-year-old girl of Muslim African heritage struggling to juggle family traditions in contemporary France. Personally, I think it's way more exploitative for Amy's mother and aunt to wake her up at 5 a.m. to start cooking food for the reception for Dad's polygamous wedding than it is for her to do mildly lascivious but mostly silly dances with her classmates.
And the French-Senegalese writer-director was just named one of 10 talents to watch by Uni France at the Toronto Film Festival. She explained that her film is intended to highlight and combat the exploitation of girls.
Precisely. This is her first feature. 3 other people helped with the script. all of them women. One, Alice Winokur, is a highly regarded filmmaker and screenwriter who co-wrote the young woman-centered Mustang, which represented France at the 88th Academy Awards. And the French Minister of Culture, Roselyne Bachelot, offered the following perspective, saying, quote, "The violent criticism leveled at the film Cuties suggests intentions on the part of its director that totally contradict the true nature of this piece of work. These criticisms are based on a series of reductive images of the film which have been taken out of context," end quote. Cuties is not a great film, but it is a sensitive, thought-provoking portrait.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Now we're going to wrap up with the Paris Surf and Skate Film Festival that's on until the end of the month. Do you surf, Lisa?
No, but I like watching beautiful images of people who do. I never took up surfing because, among many other things, there are no waves to speak of in Chicago, and I don't know how to swim. I bet I'd be really good at drowning, but you can only do that once. It's not really a sport. This is the 5th edition of the festival, and I'm impressed by how international and socially conscious it is. There are films from or set in Finland, Holland, Liberia, South Africa, Jamaica. These are sports that unite enthusiasts worldwide, like playing chess or playing music. One film follows 2 French surfers who go to Liberia to teach traumatized former child soldiers how to surf. One is about an extended family living off the grid in order to devote themselves to nature in the form of big waves. Last week, we heard that a surfboard that was lost in the water in Hawaii washed up 6 months later in the Philippines. A plank of wood made that journey on its own, no chaperone, I think 8,000 miles. I heard the original owner on French radio say that he was so happy to get word that his surfboard had survived because they'd had so many wonderful experiences together. One thing movies do especially well is show us things we'd never see otherwise. So I don't have to know how to surf or use a skateboard to watch what other people experience when they do.
Okay, Lisa, thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to leave you with one of the films showing at the festival, Water Get No Enemy. It's the story of Liberia's first generation of surfers who, 15 years after the Civil War, are rebuilding their lives through the sport. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.